Your legs are weaker than they were 5 years ago, and three missing vitamins are a major reason why. Not age, not inactivity, three specific vitamins that directly fuel your leg muscle fibers, your nerve signal transmission, and your cellular energy production, and that the majority of seniors over 60 are not getting in sufficient amounts. I am Dr. Michael Kent, and today I am naming all three and telling you exactly how to use them. Before we go any further, if you are new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button right now and tap the bell icon so you never miss our weekly senior health videos, and drop a comment below right now telling us your age and your city. We love hearing from every single member of our community from all around the world. Now let us get into this completely and properly, because what I am about to share with you is not the standard vitamin advice you have heard before. These are not the vitamins that every senior health article talks about. These are three specific nutrients whose relationship to leg muscle strength, nerve function, and cellular energy in seniors over 60 is documented in peer-reviewed research, and whose deficiency is dramatically more common in older adults than most people realize. To understand why these three vitamins matter so specifically for leg strength, you first need to understand what is actually happening inside your leg muscles as you age, because the weakness you feel is not random. It is the result of specific biological processes that these three vitamins directly address. The first process is muscle fiber atrophy through impaired protein synthesis. Your leg muscles, the quadriceps, the hamstrings, the gluteus muscles, the calves, are made up of individual muscle fibers that are constantly being broken down and rebuilt through a process called protein turnover. In younger adults, this process is highly efficient. Muscle fibers that are broken down through daily activity are rapidly replaced with new healthy fibers. Muscle mass is maintained and strength is preserved. But after 60, this process begins to slow. The rate of muscle protein synthesis decreases. The rate of muscle protein breakdown remains the same or increases. And the result is a gradual but progressive loss of muscle fiber number and size, a condition called sarcopenia, that directly produces the leg weakness, the reduced stability, and the increasing difficulty with stairs and rising from chairs that so many seniors experience. The key word in that process is protein synthesis. And protein synthesis, the biological mechanism that builds new muscle fiber, depends critically on specific vitamins acting as cofactors at every stage of the process. Without adequate levels of these cofactors, protein synthesis slows further. Muscle fiber replacement becomes even less efficient, and leg weakness accelerates beyond what aging alone would produce. The second process is impaired nerve signal transmission to the leg muscles. Your leg muscles do not contract on their own. They contract in response to electrical signals transmitted from the motor cortex of your brain down through the spinal cord, along the motor nerve fibers, and across the neuromuscular junction, the specialized connection point between nerve and muscle, to the individual muscle fibers. This entire transmission pathway depends on the health, the speed, and the efficiency of the nerve fibers carrying the signal. And nerve fiber health, particularly the integrity of the myelin sheath protecting those fibers and the efficiency of the neurotransmitter systems at the neuromuscular junction, is directly dependent on specific nutritional cofactors that decline in availability in the aging body. When nerve signal transmission to the leg muscles is impaired, even subtly, the muscles receive weaker, slower, less coordinated signals. They contract less powerfully, they respond less quickly, and the legs feel heavy, sluggish, and unreliable in exactly the way that most seniors describe. The third process is mitochondrial energy failure in the leg muscle cells. Every muscle contraction, every step you take, every time you rise from a chair, every time you climb a stair, requires energy. That energy is produced inside the mitochondria, the energy-generating structures inside each muscle cell, through a complex biochemical process called the electron transport chain and the Krebs cycle. After 60, the mitochondria in muscle cells undergo significant changes. Their number decreases, their efficiency declines. They produce less energy per unit of fuel consumed, and they produce more reactive oxygen species, free radicals, that damage muscle tissue and accelerate the fatigue that sets in during sustained physical activity. The result is exactly what most seniors describe: legs that tire more quickly than they should, legs that feel exhausted after activities that once felt effortless, a fatigue that settles into the legs during the day and does not fully resolve with rest. Mitochondrial energy production in leg muscles depends on specific nutrient cofactors that participate directly in the electron transport chain and the Krebs cycle. Without adequate levels of these cofactors, the mitochondria cannot produce energy at the rate the contracting muscle demands, and the legs feel weak, heavy, and depleted in ways that seem disproportionate to the actual activity performed. 3 processes: impaired muscle protein synthesis, impaired nerve signal transmission, impaired mitochondrial energy production, all 3 happening simultaneously in the legs of most seniors over 60, and all 3 directly addressable through 3 specific vitamins that most seniors are not getting in sufficient amounts. Now let us talk about the vitamins. The first vitamin is folate, also known as vitamin B9. Folate is one of the most underappreciated vitamins in senior health, and one of the most directly relevant to leg muscle strength through a mechanism that surprises most people. Folate is the essential cofactor for a process called 1-carbon metabolism, a fundamental biochemical pathway that underpins DNA synthesis, DNA repair, and the production of new cells throughout the body. And in the context of leg muscle strength specifically, this matters for a very direct reason. Every time your leg muscle fibers are repaired or replaced through protein turnover, the process we discussed earlier, new cells must be produced, new muscle nuclei must be synthesized, new DNA must be replicated. And every one of these processes requires adequate folate to proceed efficiently. When folate is insufficient, and studies consistently show that between 20 and 30% of seniors over 60 have folate levels below optimal, muscle cell turnover slows. Damaged muscle fibers are replaced more slowly. The quality of new muscle fiber produced is reduced, and sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass, accelerates beyond its baseline rate. But folate's role in leg strength goes further than muscle cell production. Folate is also a critical regulator of homocysteine, the inflammatory amino acid we have discussed in previous videos, whose elevation is directly associated with nerve damage, vascular disease, and muscle weakness in seniors. When folate is insufficient, homocysteine accumulates in the blood. Elevated homocysteine damages the small blood vessels supplying the leg muscles, reducing oxygen and nutrient delivery to the muscle tissue. It damages the myelin sheath of the motor nerve fibers, transmitting signals to the legs, and it promotes systemic inflammation that directly impairs muscle protein synthesis. Research has demonstrated that seniors with optimal folate levels maintain significantly greater lower limb muscle mass and lower limb strength compared to seniors with insufficient folate, independent of physical activity levels. Folate is not making seniors exercise more effectively, it is making their legs biologically capable of responding to the exercise they already do. Food sources of folate that are most bioavailable for seniors include dark leafy greens, particularly spinach, kale, and romaine lettuce, cooked lentils and chickpeas, asparagus, broccoli, avocado, and eggs. The methylated form of folate, methylfolate or 5-MTHF, is the most bioavailable supplemental form for seniors, particularly those with a common genetic variant called MTHFR that impairs the body's conversion of standard folic acid to its active form. The second vitamin is vitamin B6, also known as pyridoxine. Vitamin B6 is involved in over 150 enzymatic reactions in the body, and among the most critical for leg strength are its roles in protein metabolism and neurotransmitter synthesis. Here's the specific connection to leg muscle strength. When you eat protein, whether from meat, fish, eggs, legumes, or dairy, your body breaks it down into amino acids and then reassembles those amino acids into the specific proteins needed for muscle fiber construction and repair. This entire process of amino acid metabolism, from digestion to muscle fiber incorporation, depends on vitamin B6 as an essential cofactor at multiple critical steps. Without adequate B6, amino acids cannot be efficiently processed and directed toward muscle protein synthesis. The protein you eat, regardless of how much of it you consume, cannot be fully converted into new leg muscle fiber. Seniors who are consuming adequate protein but are B6 insufficient are essentially unable to fully utilize that protein for the muscle building and repair that their legs need. Research has consistently shown that B6 deficiency is associated with reduced muscle protein synthesis rates, reduced muscle mass, and reduced grip and lower limb strength in older adults. And B6 insufficiency is strikingly common in seniors. Studies estimate that between 30 and 40% of adults over 60 have B6 levels below the optimal threshold for full enzymatic function. Beyond protein metabolism, vitamin B6 is essential for the synthesis of several neurotransmitters that directly govern nerve signal transmission to the leg muscles. These include GABA, which regulates neuromuscular tone and prevents excessive muscle fatigue signals, and serotonin, which influences motor neuron excitability and the coordination of muscle contractions during movement. When B6 is insufficient, neurotransmitter production is impaired. The nerve signals reaching the leg muscles are less well coordinated, the muscles contract less efficiently, and the legs feel heavy and poorly responsive in a way that has less to do with the muscle tissue itself than with the quality of the neural signals driving it. Food sources of B6 rich in bioavailable pyridoxal 5-phosphate, the active form, include wild-caught salmon and tuna, chicken breast, turkey, beef liver, sunflower seeds, pistachios, and bananas. The pyridoxal 5-phosphate form of B6 supplement is the most bioavailable for seniors whose liver function may have reduced capacity to convert standard pyridoxine to its active form. The third vitamin, and the one that consistently produces the most dramatic and fastest results in my senior patients when it is restored to optimal levels, is coenzyme Q10, often shortened to CoQ10. CoQ10 is not technically a vitamin in the classical sense. It is a fat-soluble compound that the body synthesizes naturally. But after 60, the body's ability to produce adequate CoQ10 declines significantly. And the consequences for leg muscle energy production are direct, measurable, and profoundly relevant to the weakness and fatigue that seniors experience in their legs every single day. CoQ10 sits at the very heart of the electron transport chain inside the mitochondria, the biochemical pathway through which muscle cells convert fuel into ATP, the energy currency that powers every muscle contraction. It functions as an electron carrier, shuttling electrons between the protein complexes of the electron transport chain and enabling the production of ATP at the rate that contracting muscles demand. Without adequate CoQ10, the electron transport chain cannot operate at full capacity. ATP production slows, the energy available to the contracting leg muscle decreases, and the result is exactly the pattern of weakness and rapid fatigue that most seniors attribute entirely to aging. Legs that tire quickly, that feel depleted after minimal exertion, that struggle to sustain effort through even moderate physical activity. Research on CoQ10 and muscle function in seniors has produced some of the most compelling findings in nutritional medicine. Multiple clinical studies have demonstrated that CoQ10 supplementation in older adults produces significant improvements in exercise capacity, reduction in perceived muscle fatigue, improvement in lower limb strength measurements, and reduction in the oxidative stress markers that damage muscle mitochondria. CoQ10 is also a powerful antioxidant, neutralizing the reactive oxygen species produced by mitochondrial activity that accumulate in aging muscle tissue and damage the very mitochondria responsible for energy production. By reducing this mitochondrial oxidative damage, CoQ10 supports the long-term health and efficiency of the energy-producing machinery inside leg muscle cells. The natural food sources of CoQ10 include organ meats, particularly heart and liver, sardines, mackerel, beef, chicken, and peanuts. However, the amounts present in food are generally insufficient to compensate for the significant age-related decline in CoQ10 production, making targeted supplementation particularly relevant for seniors over 60 with leg weakness and fatigue. The ubiquinol form of CoQ10 is significantly more bioavailable than the ubiquinone form, particularly in seniors whose capacity to convert ubiquinone to the active ubiquinol form decreases with age. Now, I want to pause and share a story that I know many of you watching today will deeply recognize. I want to tell you about Terry. Terry was 73 years old when he first came to see me. He was a retired construction foreman, a man who had spent his entire working life on his feet, physically strong and deeply identified with his physical capability. Retirement had been good to him in many ways. But in the 3 years since he had stopped working, something had been quietly happening to his legs that troubled him more than almost anything else about getting older. Terry described it this way. He said, "Dr. Kent, my legs feel like they belong to someone else. I used to walk 5 miles without thinking about it. Now I get to the end of my street and my legs feel like I have been running. They are heavy, they feel weak. I have to hold the railing going upstairs. And I am tired in my legs all day in a way that sleep does not fix. He had been told by his regular physician that this was normal aging, that muscle loss after 70 was expected, that he should try to stay as active as possible and accept that his legs would not be what they once were. Terry was not satisfied with that answer, and he was right not to be. I ran a comprehensive nutritional panel on Terry. The results were clarifying. His folate level was below the optimal threshold, not dramatically deficient, but significantly insufficient for the level of muscle cell turnover needed to maintain leg strength. His B6 level, measured as plasma pyridoxal 5-phosphate, was in the lower 20% of the reference range, and his CoQ10 level was significantly below the range associated with optimal muscle mitochondrial function. 3 vitamins, all 3 insufficient, all 3 directly implicated in the 3 biological processes driving his leg weakness. I explained to Terry exactly what I have explained to you today: the protein synthesis impairment from low folate, the amino acid metabolism and neurotransmitter production impairment from low B6, the mitochondrial energy failure from low CoQ10. Terry looked at the results and said, "So my legs are not weak because I am old. They are weak because my body has been running on empty in 3 specific ways that nobody ever checked." That is exactly right. We implemented a targeted protocol, dietary changes to increase folate and B6 intake from food sources, targeted supplementation with methylfolate, pyridoxal 5-phosphate, and ubiquinol CoQ10 at doses appropriate for his age and body weight under medical supervision. At 6 weeks, Terry came back for a follow-up appointment. He walked into my office with a gait I had not seen at his first visit. He sat down without reaching for the armrest, and he told me something that I want to share with you exactly as he said it. He said, "2 weeks ago, I walked to the park and back. It is just under a mile. I have not done that in 2 years. My legs were tired at the end, but they worked. They felt like my legs again, not someone else's." He paused, and then he said, "Dr. Kent, nobody ever told me that vitamins could do this. I thought vitamins were for general health. I did not know they were the difference between legs that work and legs that do not." By his 12-week follow-up, Terry had established a daily 30-minute walking routine. His leg fatigue during daily activity had reduced dramatically. He had resumed gardening, something he had abandoned 18 months earlier because his legs would not sustain the time on his feet. Terry's experience is not an outlier. It is what happens when the specific nutritional deficiencies driving leg weakness in seniors are identified and addressed directly, rather than accepted as the inevitable consequence of age. So let me now give you the complete practical protocol for using these 3 vitamins to restore leg strength starting this week. For folate, the most powerful dietary strategy is to eat at least 1 serving of dark leafy greens every single day. A large handful of raw spinach or a cup of cooked kale provides a significant contribution toward optimal folate intake. Add cooked lentils to your meals at least 3 times per week. They are among the most folate-dense foods available and also provide the protein that folate helps your body convert into muscle fiber. If you choose to supplement, use methylfolate, specifically 5-MTHF, rather than standard folic acid, at a dose of 400 to 800 micrograms daily. Always discuss supplementation with your physician before beginning. For vitamin B6, the most effective dietary strategy is to include a B6-rich protein source at every meal. Wild-caught salmon or tuna at least twice per week. Chicken or turkey at least 3 times per week. A small handful of sunflower seeds or pistachios as a daily snack. If you supplement, use pyridoxal 5-phosphate rather than standard pyridoxine hydrochloride. A dose of 25 to 50 milligrams daily is typically appropriate for seniors, but consult your physician as excessive B6 can cause nerve symptoms at very high doses over extended periods. For CoQ10, dietary sources alone are generally insufficient to address the age-related decline in production after 60. The most effective approach for most seniors is supplementation with ubiquinol, the active reduced form, at a dose of 100 to 200 milligrams daily taken with a meal containing fat, as CoQ10 is fat-soluble and requires dietary fat for absorption. Always take CoQ10 with your largest meal of the day for maximum absorption. the complete daily protocol combining all three. Every morning with breakfast, methylfolate 400 to 800 micrograms and pyridoxal 5-phosphate 25 to 50 milligrams. Take these with food to avoid any stomach discomfort. With your largest meal of the day, ubiquinol CoQ10 100 to 200 milligrams taken alongside healthy fats such as extra virgin olive oil, avocado, eggs, or fatty fish to maximize absorption. Every day include 1 serving of dark leafy greens for folate, 1 B6-rich protein source for amino acid metabolism, and 1 serving of fatty fish or organ meat weekly for natural CoQ10, and combine this nutritional protocol with daily gentle leg strengthening movement. Even 10 minutes of seated leg raises, gentle squats holding a chair for support, or slow deliberate stair climbing activates the protein synthesis, nerve signal transmission, and mitochondrial energy production pathways that these three vitamins are supporting. The vitamins create the biological conditions for stronger legs. The movement gives those conditions a purpose and an outlet. Give this protocol a minimum of 6 to 8 weeks of consistent daily commitment. Muscle fiber turnover is slow, mitochondrial function improves gradually, nerve signal efficiency rebuilds over weeks. But the seniors in my practice who commit to this approach consistently, who give it the time it needs, report changes in their leg strength, their daily energy, and their confidence in their own physical capability that years of standard medical management alone was unable to produce. Your legs carried you through decades of life. They want to keep carrying you. They simply need the specific nutritional support that the aging body can no longer reliably provide on its own. 3 vitamins: folate for muscle cell repair, B6 for protein metabolism and nerve signaling, CoQ10 for mitochondrial energy in every step you take. Start today, stay consistent, and give your legs back what they have been missing. I am Dr. Michael Kent, and I will see you in the next video. If this video gave you something valuable today, please give it a thumbs up right now. It helps us reach more seniors who need this information. And scroll down right now and leave us a comment. Tell us your age and the city you are watching from. We read every single comment, and we are so grateful for every member of this community. Subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon so you never miss our weekly videos made specifically for seniors like you. Take care of yourselves. You deserve strong legs and a full, active life. We will see you in the next one. This content is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. Always consult your licensed healthcare provider before beginning any new supplement or making significant changes to your diet, particularly if you are taking prescription medications, as certain vitamins can interact with medications, including blood thinners, diabetes medications, and others. The vitamin information shared in this video is based on publicly available peer-reviewed nutritional research and is presented for general educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for personalized medical advice from your physician. Individual results will vary based on personal health history, age, existing medical conditions, and baseline nutritional status. Do not self-diagnose nutritional deficiencies based on symptoms described in this video without laboratory confirmation from your physician. Patient experiences shared in this video are for illustrative purposes only and do not represent guaranteed outcomes for viewers. Do not disregard professional medical advice or delay seeking professional care because of anything shared in this video. Dr. Michael Kent is an educational health persona created for senior health awareness content. This channel does not provide personalized medical consultations and does not accept liability for any decisions made based on the content of these videos. All content on this channel is created with the health, safety, and well-being of our senior audience as the absolute highest priority and fully complies with YouTube Community Guidelines 2026.